was on this property more than 20 years ago that Charles Manson and his devoted followers plotted their brutal and bloody crimes. It's fitting that we should be on this property today because this program will focus on what's left of Charles Manson's legacy. Not just the old buildings, but the people who are still loyal to the mad architect of Helter Skelter.
Feed.
Hi everybody, welcome to the program, and welcome to the Spawn Ranch. The Spawn Ranch. If that name sounds familiar to you, it was because it was on this property in the San Fernando Valley, just outside Los Angeles, more than 20 years ago, that Charles Manson and his devoted followers plotted their brutal and bloody crimes. It's fitting that we be on this property at the beginning of this program, because today we're going to examine the legacy of Charles Manson. Not just the old buildings, but the people who are still loyal to the mad architect of Helter Skelter.
This is the Kelly. Okay. I owned a boat.
Okay, come on up. They'll roll when you clear the breeze.
Now, if we don't like it, we can redo, right?
Do tourists come by still?
Not so often any longer. They used to come by quite often, at least once a week.
And from where?
All over the world.
Really? Like where?
Oh, Europe. I think we even had some people from Japan one time. And sometimes they speak English and sometimes they don't. But they all say Manson or the Spawn.
And how do you treat them? You haven't allowed filming here.
Very coolly.
I bet. It must be a real nuisance.
Yes.
Is it spooky too, in a way?
Absolutely not. The property is so beautiful that we totally forgot the story behind it.
Now, I understand the state has already bought the old Spawn Ranch.
The majority of it.
And you're selling the 10 acres that you have left.
Yes.
Is that with a sense of sadness or a sense of relief?
Sadness, definitely.
Really? So where will you go?
Possibly up north.
And will you always have the connection of the lady who owned the Spawn Ranch?
Hopefully not. Not everyone is aware of the significance of this place. They just look at it as Oak Valley Farms.
That's good. Let's just go see if they got the sound, and then we'll do that.
Tape's rolling.
How do you react when the tourists come by?
Fairly cool to them.
Why?
Well, we just got very tired of people coming by and asking for the Spawn Ranch.
How many hundreds over the years?
Probably about 500 that I know of personally.
Probably a lot that never stop by to say hello.
Right.
And from all countries?
Yes.
Even Japan?
Yes.
Even if they can't speak English, what do they say?
Manson? 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 Spawn?
Good.
And tape is rolling.
Tina, give me your last name and how you'd like to be identified.
Buckley. It's spelled B-U-C-H-E-L-E, but it's pronounced in this country Buckley. I'm an all-breed international dog judge. We're in the process of bringing over an international club from Europe. We're around the world now, and the club in Europe was started over 25 years ago. It's a registry as well as championship titles, international titles. And it's being well received in this country. We have over 500,000 members throughout the world.
Where are you going to go after the ranch sells?
Probably, maybe around Santa Barbara, possibly. My ex says he wants to go up there now, so I'm not quite sure. It depends on who finds first.
Don't live nearby.
No, no, no. I don't think so.
Okay.
Why don't you just stick your finger in there too and just like...
Oh, don't hit anything.
No, I mean just stick it in just like your... Yeah.
Okay, hit this hill real quick. This is what they...
It's in the R.
Okay, ready? So this door was, for some reason, not locked.
That's correct. It was ajar, open.
Any idea why?
So it was entered where we just came through. Lino LaBianca was right over there reading a newspaper or had dozed off. He woke up or was startled to see Tex Watson and Charles Manson sword in hand. He was told to be quiet, nothing would happen to him. They just came to rob him. Then one of the individuals went to the bedroom to bring out Rosemary LaBianca, and that's where they brought them in together, tied them up back to back, rummaged through her billfold, which is just behind us, and then left the people again saying, nothing's going to happen, we're only going to rob you, and the two people went down the street to go back to the rest of the Manson family.
And the family came up and described the crime that they perpetrated in this room.
It appears that they separated Lino and Rosemary, and they took Rosemary just behind that wall to the bedroom. The two girls, Leslie Van Houten and Patricia Krenwinkel. Tex Watson was left then with Lino LaBianca. The story is that he ripped open his pajamas or his shirt, and he began stabbing Lino in the chest. One of the LaBianca children said the horrible nightmare of Lino screaming, "I'm already dead, don't stab me anymore." Rosemary heard that. She began saying, "What are you doing to my husband?" And the girls began fighting her. They couldn't subdue her, and there was a struggle. And finally, as Tex Watson subdued Lino, and pretty well he was dead, stabbed repeatedly, he went in to finish off Rosemary LaBianca, who had been subdued now. Her hands not tied. She had fought viciously. They had actually tethered two lamp cords around her neck and tied her down like a beast. And then Watson comes in and he does the deadly deed, and she received 41 stab wounds with a bayonet.
And then there were writings on these walls. Why don't you tell us what What was there?
Okay, on this wall here, they had writing, and on the wall right over the door, they had the word rise. And they wrote things to make it appear that it was a black-white conflict, and it was a battle, and it was something like the Tate House, and then they wrote Helter Skelter on the refrigerator. They stopped and ate things out of the refrigerator. They took a shower in the bathroom, and I understand that they may have even taken some of Leno's clothes for Tex Watson to wear because his clothes were very bloody.
Now, you have an interesting theory as to why this house, why this family.
I believe the evidence is beginning to show, and Charlie himself is beginning to talk about the possibility that he was hired, with him the only one having the knowledge, Geraldo, that it could have been a contract killing of some mafia relationships. I looked up the other night wondering maybe we should look at LaBianca Tate. There is some connection between the two people, possibly the two properties, possibly because of stocks and commodities. We know that the man who delivered drugs to the Tate House the night of the murders was found dead in the New York JFK airport with a bullet in his head. We know that he was into stocks and commodities, and we also know that this is what Leno and Rosemary dealt in. A lot of unanswered questions, including, as I told you earlier, the 2-hour gap on the police report from the time when the boy arrived home to the time when he actually ended up making the call to the police. 2-hour gap, and I'm told by a personal friend of Rosemary that the safe was cleaned out. Now, who opened the safe? Who knew the combination? And why did it take Susan LaBerge, who was then Rosemary's daughter, why did it take her 2 hours to respond to her brother 1.9 miles away? There's a lot of questions.
All right, now I want you to go through and tell us exactly what was written where. Let's just do it. Okay.
Rosemary LaBianca was found in this bedroom, right there on the floor, parallel to the dresser, parallel to the bed between the two. 2 lamps had fallen and tethered her about the neck, one on each side. She had crawled approximately 2 feet, crawling to escape the murderous girls.
How many?
Just by a fork. 41 stab wounds, mostly in the back.
They used the blood of the victims to write on the walls. They took showers?
They did. Tex Watson, in his book, Will You Die For Me, said that they all showered together in the bathroom. That's an impossibility. This is the actual shower. It's a 1-stall shower. So they showered separately, and that was the only bath in the house.
And afterwards, then, just calmly left?
They sat down and ate, and they petted the dog, and they walked out the front door and left it unlocked.
Victims to scrawl their epithets on the wall. What did they do?
They then took showers, and Tex Watson, in his book, Will You Die For Me, tells us that they all 3 had fun taking a shower together, washing the blood off. But take a look at the shower, Geraldo. It's a 1-stall shower, and that's the shower that Tex Watson and the 2 girls used to wash off the blood.
So after showering together or one at a time, then what?
It appears that they went to the kitchen. They were hungry. Killing is hard work. And they had a snack. They petted the dog. They walked out the front door, and they left it unlocked. Leno was lying on his back. He had a fork protruding out of his stomach. He had a pillowcase over his head, and it was tied. He had a pillow thrown against his face, and he had been stabbed some 26 times by Charles Tex Watson. Before the shower, They dipped their hand in blood.
Oh, we know that. We know
Okay,
that.
okay.
Oh, back.
Ready? Takes rolling.
The killers came into this kitchen. They opened the refrigerator. They had a snack. They ate the food of Rosemary and Lino LaBianca. On that refrigerator was written the words "Helter Skelter" by Patricia Krenwinkel. Interestingly, it was misspelled and it had the word "heel" in it. They ate in this kitchen after they killed the victims while they were still in the house. LaBianca, his body lying right here, and then Patricia Krenwinkel just reached over and put the words up there, the word "rise," and then took the same blood and walked into the kitchen and wrote "Helter Skelter."
Would they use a paintbrush?
I'll have to check that. It was either paper towel or it was a cloth. It was later found.
This door then was open.
This door was open, unlocked, ajar, about 2 inches. 2 o'clock in the morning, thereabouts. Even though the Tate murders happened just the night before, and Lino and Rosemary had just heard about that from the news vendor at Hillhurst and Franklin. The door times he had a racing form open. He was big into gambling, $500 a week habit. His apple beer was spilled over in the conflict. They subdued him. Charles Manson and Tex Watson coming in together. They subdued him, and probably Tex went to the bedroom to get Rosemary, bring her in here. They were tied up back to back and put on the floor in front of this couch.
Any theory on why, after Tex and Charlie walked back down to the street to get the girls, why didn't the LaBiancas attempt to flee?
Geraldo, I've wondered that. It appears they were tied up back to back with the rawhide off of Charles Manson's vest. I don't have any knowledge their feet were tied. They were told, "We only want to rob you. We're not going to hurt you. Nothing will happen to you." I just have to think in the back of their mind Sharon Tate's name had to start coming, like, this is bizarre. But they stayed here. I think as I've walked to the street back and forth and now done it with you, that there was 8 to 10 minutes by the time they went back to the car. Patricia Krenwinkel says they smoked a cigarette, they got their instructions, and then Watson and the 2 girls came back up here to do their dirty deeds. The people stayed tied up. At that time, this hill was vacant back here. I think they could have gotten out of here, they could have hidden. Why didn't they scream out for help? I don't know. Either they knew the killers, and that's why the dog really didn't bark, or it was a mafia hit and they really believe nothing's worth dying over. Let them have whatever valuables they want. Remember, Lino LaBianca had silver laying around here. Rosemary's purse was right here next to us. There was all kinds of weapons in the house. He was an avid collector of guns and rifles. Why they didn't protect themselves, I don't know. It's a mystery.
What happened here?
No, not at all. In fact, we bought this house because of its historical value. Just like Donald Trump bought the Ambassador Hotel, knowing Robert Kennedy died here. See, we belong in the medical profession, so dying and death means nothing.
Didn't you have a couple of incidents, though, where it did seem haunted?
Yes, I used to have, a dozen poodles, and they all disappeared in one day. So I don't know if that's attributed to the LaBianca ghost or something.
A dozen dogs you lost?
Yes, poodles. Mm-hmm.
And didn't you have some cleaning people here one night?
Right, I got a couple cleaning lady here and the husband. And one night she just went screaming and she said, "Go away, Lino, don't pull my leg." And she said he pulled her leg right where Mrs. LaBianca died. So she ran outside, called for the husband. She was in her white nightgown, and the husband thought it was a ghost, so they were all screaming. And from then on, they never cleaned my house.
And you still think it was worth it for its historical value?
Oh, yes, of course. Mm-hmm.
And you sleep well?
We do, right. But sometimes, like in 2 occasions, there's 2 friends of mine. They went down the basement, and on 2 different occasions, one said, You know, there's a very strong wind down the basement, like it's coming from the ocean, like whoo, something like that. And these are two different people who told me this. So, but for me, myself, nothing. I haven't seen anything.
Okay. Okay. Sally, don't you ever get nervous living here where such a terrible thing happened?
No, never. In fact, sometimes I'm by myself here. I'm not kidding. You know, I'm divorcee, so there was a time I was by myself here. No, never.
Haven't you ever had any incidents, though, where you thought it was a haunted house?
Never, never. I'm not, as I've told you, I'm not scared of the dead and the dying and whatever ghosts. Never, ever.
Thank you for letting us film in your house.
Oh, you're welcome.